All right, so now we have some examples of relative frequency distributions from the class data. And here I'm going to show the same questions as I did on the last slide that I showed questions. All right, so how do you feel about math? And here we have the same frequencies as we did before. So 4 people who said they love it, 6 people who said they like it, 6 people who said it's okay, 22 people who are not a fan, and 15 people who'd rather be eating their own eyeballs. And what we have here are the percent and proportion, which I just have abbreviated. So using that formula, you can find the percent and proportion. And what you can see now is that in the class, 8% of people, or a proportion of 0.08, say that they love it. 11% of people say that they like it. 11% of people also say it's okay, with those proportions being 0.11 and 0.11. 42% of the class says they're not a fan, but they'll do it if they have to. And again, a full 28%, or a proportion of 0.28, say that they would rather be eating their eyeballs. You can also see the proportion, or just the percent here on these graphs for the would you rather questions. And so, as I said before, the would you rather kill someone and have no one know question, or kill no one but have everyone think you did question, tends to be split 50-50. And here we see it's 54% of the class would rather kill someone, and 46% of the class would rather kill no one but have everybody think you did. In contrast, with the would you rather marry someone attractive with a terrible personality or marry somebody ugly with a great personality question, only 14% of the class would rather marry somebody who's attractive but has a terrible personality, whereas 86% of the class would rather marry somebody ugly who has a great personality. And so one thing that relative frequency distributions are nice for is that they allow you to compare across different measures that maybe have different total numbers of people. So in the 2 would you rather questions, for example, one question has 48 responses, one question has 50 responses, so you can't directly compare those exact frequencies. But with percent, it tells you just of the number of people who responded, what percent said they would rather do one thing versus another thing. All right, so that's relative frequency distributions. Another type of thing that you can do with a frequency distribution, and so another kind of frequency distribution, is something called a cumulative frequency distribution. And unlike regular frequency distributions and relative frequency distributions, a cumulative frequency distribution is only appropriate for variables that are measured at the ordinal, interval, or ratio levels of measurement. And so what all of these levels of measurement have in common is that you can put the different attributes of the variable in order from least to most. So whatever you're measuring, you can put it in order from least to most. And what a cumulative frequency tells you is the total number of observations you have that are equal to or less than some particular value. And you can do the same thing with percentage and proportion. So you can find the percent or proportion of observations in your sample that are equal to or less than some value. So with this one as well, I'm going to go back over to the document camera and show you an example with the simplified data before I show you an example with the class data. But just keep that in mind as a definition for cumulative frequency.